Call the meeting to order. First, we have some housekeeping. Council is pleased to announce that the construction of the Budgetary Regional Wellness Center will commence in the spring 2022 with an anticipated opening of 2024. The town has awarded St. John's Base Olympic Construction Limited the design build contract of the center, which is valued at $10,687,350.52, excluding HST. The Wellness Center will provide jobs for the local economy as well as support to the community business sector during the ongoing construction. The town is in discussions with the YMCA regarding responsibility for the operations and programming for the facility when construction is completed. The new Wellness Center will be located next to the Unity Park. The concept design includes an aquatic center, fitness center, multi-purpose room, and 4-foot indoor walking track in the Unity Park. The Wellness Center will benefit our community and the health and wellness of our residents. We look forward to construction beginning this spring. The town signed a proclamation to recognize February 6th to February 12th as Allied Youth Week. Allied Youth is an organization for people in grades 7 through 12 throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. Allied Youth encourages members to make choices that reflect a healthy lifestyle, to educate themselves on issues facing youth today, and allow students to run their own post and make decisions at the post level. The town signed a proclamation to recognize February 21st as Heritage Day and February 21st to the 27th as Heritage Week. Heritage Day and Heritage Week are time to reflect on the achievements of the past generations, to accept the responsibility for protecting our heritage and celebrating our rich, diverse history. In recognition of Heritage Week, heritage sites around our town will be highlighted on social media. Every February, people across Canada participate in Black History Month events and festivities that honor the legacy of Black Canadians and their communities. The 2022 theme for Black History Month is February and Forever, celebrating Black history today and every day, which focuses on recognizing the daily contributions that Black Canadians have made to Canada. Congratulations to Healy Store on the 64th anniversary of customer service in our community. Healy Store opened its doors in 1958 and has been a place to find almost anything since then. Always friendly and great service. Wishing you many more years of success. Council and staff extend condolences to town employee Susan Bartlett on the passing of her grandmother, Miss Florence Barry of Pettyford. Our thoughts are with you and your family during this difficult time. That's it for housekeeping. Adoption of the agenda dated February 15, 2022, moved by Deputy Mayor Power, seconded by Councillor Power. All those in favor? Motion carries. Adoption of the minutes dated January 8, 2022. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Wilson. All those in favor? Motion carries. Adoption of the minutes dated February 2nd, 2022. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Fitzpatrick. All those in favor? Motion carried. Next, we have business arising. Anybody got anything from business arising? Hearing nothing from business arising, and move to new business. Under new business, I do have something under new business. We had a special meeting of council on February 2nd via Zoom. In attendance was myself, was Deputy Mayor Power, Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Power, Councillor Smith, Councillor Williams, and Councillor Wilson. And the staff was CAO, Mr. Gallagher, Ms. Green, and Ms. Smith was the recorder. From that meeting, the following motions were put forward. Be it resolved that the motion to approve the agenda for the meeting held on February 2nd is adopted. Moved by Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Power. All those in favor? Motion carried. Second motion, be it resolved that the motion to proceed with the Wellness Center is adopted. Moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor Williams. All those in favor? Motion carried. Be it resolved that the motion for approval of a loan up to a maximum of 4 million is required, if required, is adopted. Moved by Councillor Williams, seconded by Councillor Smith. Just want to make a note on this, that this is if required. The town is actually seeking other partners, agencies to secure funding. And this is a part of going through that process to make this happen. It was important to know, that through municipalities are required to provide funding sources in advance of the sanctioning of this project. So basically, we're approving this money in case there's something happens with regards to if it's cost overruns. We just got to show we're able to have this money there. The goal is at the end of this project that the town would own the facility outright once the doors are open, through the funding agencies and partners we're looking at, and through other announcements that the town is going to make in the coming weeks and months ahead to ensure that we have the funding there to make sure that this project will be at no burden to the taxpayers of Placentia. So just want to make that clear. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carries. Be resolved that the motion to proceed with the application for funding from ACOA in the amount of 1 million and the Provincial Department of Industry and Technology in the amount of $500,000 is adopted. Moved by Councillor Power, seconded by Councillor Smith. Just another note on this. This is one of the funding agencies required. So from the 4 million that is required, there is 1.5 million that once we get this sanctioned, that we can move through and get the process to come off of that 4 million. And other initiatives that are going to be announced to make sure that this is a reality, that the town, there's no cost burden on the residents. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried. Any other new business of council? Hearing none, we will move on to the committee report.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep, sure.
did you jump over a motion there or number 42?
You're correct. Thank you, Deputy. Another motion from that meeting was, be it resolved that the motion to sign a letter of intent with the YMCA to operate the Placentia Wellness Center is adopted. Moved by Deputy Mayor Power, seconded by Councillor Williams. Any questions or comments on that? All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you, Deputy. Any other new business? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Executive Committee. The Executive Committee met on February 9th. Meeting was called order at 4:13. In attendance was myself, the chair, Deputy Mayor Power, Councillor Fitzpatrick, the CAO, Mr. Gallagher, and Ms. Smith was our recorder. From that, we talked a little bit about the asset management program. The town is currently in the process of putting an asset management program in place to list all the assets of the town. This is something that's going to be needed going forward for municipal operating grants. So the CAO is currently engaged in that process to get that completed, and he brought us up to speed on that. There was some stuff with the assistance of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, and also through Track Consulting will help with that also. There was one recommendation that council approve a top-up allocation under the ultimate recipient gas tax amendment on the federal gas tax fund for 2021, 2022 in the amount of $154,648. Moved by Deputy Mayor Power, seconded by Councillor Smith. So this is actually what this is. It's a top up. The federal government is a top up to what we already had. So this is certainly something we can use within the town to upgrade what we see fit that goes under these rules. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried. The only other topic that came up, we will be scheduling a meeting with the RCMP to discuss some of the staff shortages that we find here at the Placentia Detachment. We've recently realized the impact that could have on our residents. So we'll be looking to bring that forward to make sure that the policing is adequate in our town, to make sure that our residents feel safe at all times. And that is something that is going to be relayed in this meeting. So once we get that meeting, I'll certainly let the rest of the council know. So it's something that is definitely on the agenda of the council to make sure that, that we are looking after our residents with regards to making sure that we hold the policing accountable that they should be doing in our area. There was times of the call, like we can't expect as a town to wait close to almost an hour for the police to arrive on the scene of a serious incident. So that is something we will be bringing forward to make sure that, we hold people accountable. Any other questions or comments on that? Hearing none of that, there was no other things with regards to the executive committee. So that was it for the executive. Next, we'll move on to the finance committee. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on February the 8th by Zoom, and in attendance were, I was there as chair, Councillor Jennifer Power, Deputy Mayor Wayne Power, Mary Green, Manager of Finance, Jonathan Galgade, CAO, and Catherine Smith, Executive Assistant. The meeting was called to order at 5:06 p.m. and these are the following recommendations. That council approved the accounts payable transactional journal dated February the 7th, 2022 in the amount of $42,440.01. So
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Wilson. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
That council approved the check register for the operating account in the amount of $246,974.17 for checks numbered 030015 to 030075.
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Williams. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
That council approved the check register for the special accounts in the amount of $62,835.18.
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Power. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
That council approved quote from Rebuilt Pumps and Motors Limited in the amount of $8,224.58 plus HST and freight charges for repairs to Flight 3153 pump.
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Deputy Mayor Power. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
That council approved the Town of Placentia financial statements dated December 31st, 2020 as presented by Byron Smith, Chartered Professional Accountant.
Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Wilson. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
And there are the recommendations. The manager prepared the fiscal summary from 2019 to 2022, which was circulated and reviewed.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Anything else for the finance? There are none. We'll move on to Public Works and Public Safety Committee. Councillor Wilson.
Mr. Mayor, the Public Works and Public Safety Committee met on February 7th via Zoom. In attendance were myself as chair, Councillor Jamie Fitzpatrick, Councillor Michael Williams, staff on hand were Jonathan Galgay, CAO, Adam Green, Public Works Superintendent, Wayne Power, Fire Chief, and Debbie Gare, Recorder. Recommendations. The committee is recommending that council approve the Placentia Volunteer Fire Department Standing Operation Policy and Procedures Manual dated January 2022 as circulated.
Moved by
So moved.
Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Williams. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carried.
Number two, the committee is recommending that council direct the CAO to submit correspondence to the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure and the MHA for Placentia to request immediate, if not in advance notice, that the lift bridge is going to be out of commission.
Moved by Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Smith. Any questions or comments? I guess the only one I wait, this is a very serious matter that we're dealing with in regards to having advance notice as much as possible for emergency services, whether it be ambulance providers, whether it be fire departments, whether it's even the RCMP. Like, this is very important that they get to this information to us in a timely manner. Call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried.
That's it for the recommendations. Some new business. Fire Chief Wayne Power reported that there was 8 calls during January. Some medical assistance and vehicle collisions. Also, during February 5th weekend rainstorm, members of the fire department were out assisting residents with pumping equipment. Regular firefight training exercises will reconvene now that the province has moved to alert level 3. The fire chief also expressed concern for the interruption in response time when the lift bridge was not functioning. Most recently, this issue caused a delay to the bridge lasting 45 minutes, which is unacceptable for emergency vehicle response. There were some discussions and activities requiring RCMP presence. Mr. Mayor already alluded to this fact, and there's going to be a staff meeting with the RCMP. We had one resident complain about ATV use, flicking rocks and debris onto streets. Public Works is monitoring this and increasing maintenance in the area for sweeping and other things. Also, council is drafting ATV use guidelines and will be presented to the committee at the next meeting. Department of Transportation and Infrastructure circulated bulletin on updates to the NFPA codes for electrical design. Public Works Superintendent presented the department with an update indicating 65 outstanding work orders as of February 2nd. These are compliance mainly of paving, curb stop leaks issues. However, some include manholes, bridges, signage, lights, and other regular maintenance that will be addressed when the time and weather permits. Not included in this report are major problems such as eroding banks, wave wall repairs, guardrail replacements, and so on that may require engineering planning and project funding. The storm update, Public Works Superintendent received over 130 calls for water-related issues as a result of the rainstorm on February 5th. They put in service 4 gas and 2 electric submersible pumps. Concern was widespread throughout the area from southeast to Dunville, involving collapsed culverts, road shoulders, undermining, outfall issues, and so on. The significant rainfall, estimated at 150 mils, affected properties that have never been reported on before. Public Works will be inventorying and recording municipal infrastructure problems occurring and for repairs and planning. It is important for the town to reach out to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure for culvert clearing, ditch cleaning, and brush cutting programs, partnerships to ensure water can flow through the ditches rather than overflow onto roads and private property. The committee will also be reviewing dilapidated culverts around the town over the next while. Also update on capital works projects. The following 3 projects have been approved by government. However, waiting provincial announcement before we can proceed. The freshwater outfall project, Regatta Ground Lift Station, Harbor Drive Storm Drain. Number 2, the control system at Correspondence has been installed and is being commissioned at this time. Number 3, the project kickoff meeting has been held and a field visit has been held and launched for the supervisory control and data acquisition known as SCADA project. Parts have been ordered and delivery is expected in 6 to 8 weeks. Number 4, a kickoff meeting for the Levitt project at the Regatta grounds is scheduled for February 8, 2022. The contractor is preparing the startup materials and work order schedule at this time. Other business, the committee brought forward some other areas concerned regarding ditching that Public Works will be addressing. Discussion prompted the suggestion that an information bulletin be drafted informing the public that any excavation or development of property requires a permit from the town of Ascension and the Provincial Department of Water Resources. Arbitrarily infilling of ditches bordering private property is not permitted. These ditches are meant to alleviate water buildup and prevent flooding. That's it for me. No more.
Any questions or comments for the Public Works Safety Committee? I guess the only comment that I would like to make is regarding the February the 5th rainstorm. I would certainly like to commend and thank the Public Works Department. Had in place you had night shift, you had regular scheduled night shift the night before and into the next day. People came back on short rest. All hands on deck, management and staff, to make sure that, to alleviate as many problems as possible. You know what they did? Heard great reviews about how the town management staff help people out to get them through this. So I would be remiss to say not to thank the Public Works management and staff for their response to the vast amount of rainfall. 150 milliliters, a lot to handle, and to mitigate against that the best they could. They've done a fantastic job, and I'd like to just say thank you for that. Any other business for this committee?
I'm good.
Aaron, none?
Mr. Mayor, just to expand on that, the other people that I'd like to thank, in addition to our staff, would be the fire chief and the fire department, as they reached out to a number of people as well.
Thank you for pointing that out. Greatly appreciate it. Anybody else have anything? Next, we'll move on to the Recreation Committee. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Recreation Committee met via Zoom on February 7th at 6 p.m. In attendance was myself as chair, Councillor Williams, Councillor Wilson, Mr. Galgay, our CAO, Mr. Green, Public Works Superintendent, Mr. Power, Fire Chief, as well as Ms. Gear, our Executive Assistant, to record. We don't have any recommendations at this time. We talked about Unity Park update, the conditions that had changed, but since our meeting, there are new restrictions that have been put in place, as public health has no longer is using the alert levels. And instead of using restrictions on certain activities, we are now moving to identify how to operate the Unity Park. So operational changes that were discussed during our meeting have changed since then. And there was an information note that went out to, I think, council today, as well as the public, of some of those changes. We are now at 50% capacity, and that is approximately 215 people that are allowed now in that building. The other piece that is being looked at is around the Vax Pass and moving that over to the renters and transitioning into that. So there will be more on that in months to come, or in the next meeting, I'm thinking. We discussed the summer recreation program. The CAO is going to be reaching out to Freshwater Community Center and their committee to have a conversation about their interest in undertaking the summer recreation program, and details on that should be forthcoming, hopefully in the near future. We did talk about some recreation committee equipment that the town had purchased previously and being able to be used through the recreation program that has been left behind by the Placentia Area Development Association. Some of the other items that were discussed was the metal siding on the arena needs attention, and that will be looked at by the regional engineers when we discuss the wave wall and other matters pertaining to the Wellness Center project. I'm happy to report that over approximately half of the lighting that along the boardwalk has been installed on the poles. So on the north end of the Veterans Road. And for our next meeting, we're going to get a list of budgetary considerations for the recreation department that were identified by council through the budget process and the meetings, and to identify cost items and what can be tackled in the short term and long term to determine which funding programs we will go after for larger projects, using such things as possibly the gas tax funding that is to be expended by 2024. That is the update from recreation. I don't know if anybody has any questions or clarification that's needed.
Anybody with any questions? Councillor Power.
Councillor Fitzpatrick, just a question about the light on the boardwalk. Any talks about the south end? I'm assuming that'll be towards southeast for lights for that part of the boardwalk.
So we have identified that as well, how to do that. We haven't come up with a solution yet to bring back to council. So we're in the process of just doing the one that has the existing poles, and that may be part of the items, because it was a piece that was brought up by committee to look at things to put in place for the other half of the boardwalk.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else with anything? The only other note I will make is that I believe the fitness center is now open, so people can use the fitness center. Is that correct, Councillor Fitzpatrick?
It is, yes. They have to phone and book a time still.
Thank you.
And I guess on another note, the arena canteen is opened as well. That's probably the other condition that's changed. And there's seating up in the warm room.
Perfect. Anything else for council for your recreation? There are none. We'll move on to Tourism Economic Development Committee. Deputy Mayor Power.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our committee met on February 8th via Zoom with myself as chair, Councillor Power, Councillor Smith, the CAO, and the executive assistant was recording. We have no recommendations from our meeting, but we had several points of discussion. Many of you may recall last year when young gentleman Mitchell Williams created a digital replica of our town and got some great media coverage of it at that time. He has further advanced his model of Placentia and has approached us to have some discussions on how he'd like to use that. So our committee is going to reach out to Mitchell in the coming days to learn more about his project and his interest. So we're looking forward to that. We briefly discussed the Marine Atlantic study, and of course, when we had the truckers here back in the latter part of 2021, question was raised, well, why can't it come more often or come permanently? So we would like to do some research on that. So we'll be exploring that opportunity in the future. So we're keeping that in our mind sight. This committee has also had previous engagement with the community stakeholders. So we'll be exploring further ways how we can use our resources to reach out and engage with not only our economic development stakeholders, but the community in general. We'll be exploring that now as we move forward as well. The mayor already mentioned his proclamation for National Heritage Week, and you can look forward to seeing some social media activity surrounding that in the days ahead, and the week runs from February 21st to the 27th. And we're also continuing to explore our legacy garden proposal to submit to funding partners to further advance the setup that we have in the garden there adjacent to the town square to make it more usable for events and activities and residents in general. And that is the summary of our report of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions or comments for the deputy? Hearing none, we'll move on to Planning, Development, and Community Enhancement Committee. Councillor Williams.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. A meeting was held on February 7th of the Planning, Development, and Community Enhancement Committee. In attendance was myself, Mike Williams, Chair, Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Wilson, staff. We had Adam Green, Public Works Superintendent, Mr. Gallagher, CAO, Fire Chief Wayne Power, and Debbie Gear as the recorder. There were no recommendations were made at the meeting. There was a few topics of discussion. There was a cleanup request. It is alleged that following Hurricane Larry in September 2021, debris from the subsequent cleanup was deposited on land on Harbor Drive belonging to a resident who was asking that the property be restored to its pre-storm conditions. It was determined by Public Works that runoff from Hurricane Larry may have affected the property, but the town caused very little disruption to the site. There were a couple of creosote blocks moved off the flats of the land during cleanup, and the ground was scraped. The superintendent will revisit to ensure any disturbance of the land the town caused by the removal of the blocks is properly restored. We had a request for paving. A request for street paving has been received from a resident on the Blockhouse Drive. This matter is referred to Public Works. The superintendent responded to the resident. Municipal Enforcement Officer provided a list of outgoing correspondence regarding dilapidated properties, outstanding permits, and infringement of the animal control bylaws. The list has been circulated in the committee meeting package for information purposes. There was a few permits. One commercial occupancy permit for operation of a restaurant deli at 21 Veterans Way, pending signature of the property owner on the permit application and upon receipt of government service approval. 3 accessory building permits. One was a C-can at 17 Ville Marie Drive, a detached garage at 9 to 15 Tunis Street, pending water resource approval, and a boathouse at 175 Harbor Drive, pending water resources. 2 permits for new flam poles installation at 21 Fort Lewis and at Bradshaw Place. And that was pretty well it for our Planning, Development, and Community Enhancement Committee report. Is there any questions from anybody?
Any questions for Councillor Williams?
One just comment, or I guess point of clarification. I noticed that we're listing that permits were approved. So are we approving certain permits now at the counter and not having to come to the council meeting?
So if the CAO, Mr. Gallagher, could just elaborate on the process, please. That would be great. And
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and your worship. For information purposes of council, as per municipal regulations and the municipal plan, which currently exists by the town of Placentia, Any such permits which are requested of the town which meet those guidelines go through staffing and approval basis internally and will not require approval of council. Anything which falls outside of municipal regulations which require council review and process will come to council. So what this does is council essentially, if it meets the municipal regulations and guidelines, does not require approval of council, because by essence of having the municipal regulations in place, you've already adapted the guidelines. So for those residents who may be watching tonight, when you submit an application to the town, it's accepted by town staff. It's forwarded to staff for review to determine if it meets our regulations. And if it does, then it is improved internally. If your application falls outside of municipal guidelines, it is then referred to the committee for review and subsequent review and approvals.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Good explanation for the residents, and glad to see we're trying to be efficient with that process. Thank you.
That process is certainly much more efficient than people having to wait for a month to get an application when we already got the regulations adopted. I guess the only thing that I got is I'm glad to see that the committee is looking at dilapidated properties and getting listings of them. Certainly, it's the will of this council to do some focus on dilapidated properties and make sure people are held accountable to keep the property in a orderly fashion and that is presentable within the community, and certainly makes our community a lot more beautiful. When we get this in place, it will certainly help enhancement for sure. Anything else for Councillor Williams? Hearing none, we'll move on to Marketing and Special Events Committee. Ms. Councillor Power.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Marketing and Special Events Committee met on February 2nd by Zoom at 1 p.m. In attendance was myself, Deputy Mayor Power, Councillor Smith, Manager of Tourism Marketing, Ms. Power, CAO, Mr. Gallagher, and Executive Assistant, Ms. Smith. We have no recommendations at this time. We did discuss and finalize the planning for the dates included February 10th to the 14th. This year's theme was Carnival 22 is here. Let's spread love everywhere. The manager drafted a calendar of events that consisted of virtual, age-friendly events and contests. We had different theme days: Canada Day, Jersey Day, Hack Day, Super Bowl Sunday, and we finished off with Valentine's Day on February 14th. Carnival contests include a riddle contest, also a video challenge. The riddle contest was by the CYN, and also they had a cake decorating contest. And also we have a coloring contest, and that won't be finished up for another couple days. And we had the Love Heart Search, which there was hearts all hidden throughout the town. And the CYN partnered 3 family-oriented activities, including Carnival Take and Make. And let's see, the residents that participated in the contest submitted pictures for social media to win prizes. Hashtag Vicentia Carnival Love. And we had 3 online concerts featuring Damien Follett, Angie Coffey, and Larry Foley. And our mascots, Peter and Peggy, made appearances throughout the town for the carnival. And some more pop-up sessions like this now that we have snow and with our special events. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Power. Anything else from council? There are nothing. I guess I would be remiss in not saying thank you to Councillor Power and the committee for their work in putting off the winter carnival, along with our manager, Ms. Power. Certainly some great virtual events. See some nice prizes they were giving out and stuff. So I'd like to say thank you for your commitment for everybody, management, council, staff, for making this happen. I know that there were volunteers even within our town that people went out and other people. I'd be remiss not to say thank you to CYN, who certainly played a great role in partnership with the town in the winter carnival. So I'd like to say thank you to all. And hopefully I didn't forget anybody. If I did, could you certainly correct me? Councillor Power, go ahead.
And also thank you to the Port of Argentia for sponsoring an event
The Port
and
of Argentia,
prizes.
I did see them. I did see them out volunteering and stuff. So thank you to the port also. Thank you for that. See, I knew I forgot someone. Anything else for Councillor Power? Hearing none. Correspondence. Anything with regards to correspondence? Questions or comments?
Also, one more. Also to the
Sure.
two Lions clubs. They sponsored some events too.
All right, thank you to the Boat Lions Club. I believe, were you at the Lions Manor also? Did you go outside?
Yes.
I know they're out. That's a great initiative. Even as I go outside to see them, I guess the residents, you know what, to get a break in their day. It's been dark times for people inside and not be able to see people with restrictions. So certainly that brighten their day also. Hearing none, we'll do correspondence of councillors. First, we'll start with Councillor Smith. Anything, no correspondence, other business of councillors. Councillor Smith.
No, the only thing I was going to say was to thank you to Adam and the Public Works and the Fire Chief for their quick response to the flooding, but you already mentioned it, so that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Wilson.
I'm good.
Councillor Williams.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to reiterate what Kay said there too. I'd like to say thank you to the Public Works Superintendent Adam and his staff. They all did a great job on the flooding that we had there a couple weekends ago. I was on the go fairly early myself when all this was going on, and the boys, they all really worked diligently on behalf of the residents of the town, and I really think that they should all be commended on the hard work that they done. And I would just like to say, I'd like to thank all the staff for their hard work in getting the wellness center off the ground in Placentia. And not just to the staff, the outgoing council that was here in the past, they did put a lot into it with the Lions Club. So I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for their participation. And I know everyone is going to be looking forward to this new wellness center. I think it's it's going to be a great asset of the town of Placentia going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. To comment on the Wellness Center announcement made earlier this week, congratulate everyone involved in that. I think I chaired the committee of the whole meeting when the Lions Club first brought the concept forward back in 2009. And over the past number of years, we all know there's been a lot of negotiation, twists, turns, and overall hard work put into getting the reality that we saw with the step of announcing the award of construction contract this week. And that work has been completed, as Councillor Williams said, by all councils from that point until now, staff and the community. And as Mr. Mayor, you announced last week, to thank you to the Lions Club. They certainly put the effort in over the years to keep that project moving ahead. And hopefully, soon as the frost breaks, not that we've had much frost, but we'll be able to solidify all the news and commentary that's been done when construction starts on the site. So it's great to see that move ahead and be moving forward. It's going to be a good project for the future of our community. Also want to comment on the Winter Carnival. It was a great few days with a lot of community participation, and thank you to everyone involved in that. And to acknowledge Ms. Power, the manager of Tourism American Communication, for all her coordinating efforts in making the last few days possible. Thank you to all involved, all the sponsors. I'm sure it'll be an official thank you for everyone go out so we don't miss anybody. And that's it for me tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I can only echo what Deputy Mayor Power has said and other councillors have said with respect to the partnership that has resulted in the Wellness Centre now coming to fruition. And it's a round of applause for everybody that's been involved with it. And with respect to the carnival, again, with staff, thank you so much, as well as the Public Works Department. The additional piece that I'd like to just put in council's ear, as well as something that council could possibly explore, is there's been some outreach of residents for asking if there's a possibility of getting a guardrail up on the top of Jersey Side Hill, where around Miss Judy Leonard's location. That embankment now is a little bit steep. So maybe it's something we want to approach Transportation and Works around to see if that's any possibility. Other than that, I don't have any other business.
That is a good point, because that also is pretty close to the watershed area, so it certainly would be protection for that also. That's a good point, and I'm sure our CAO is here tonight, so he'll probably make note of that, and our Public Works Superintendent, and bring that forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's,
So go ahead,
there's-
Mr. Smith.
I was just going to say there's a lot of potholes up there, so you tend to go out so you won't hit the potholes, and then you might go over there really easy because it's steep and it really needs a guardrail.
And I believe from what I know that there was a guardrail there at one time.
Yeah.
Was there? So, I mean, there's no reason why it should not be reinstalled. Councillor Williams is saying yes, so he remembers too. We both.
Yeah, I was just gonna make the comment, there always used to be a guardrail there once upon a time. But there's a lot changed on that track since that water line was put out too, Rick, so that would have to be taken into account.
Something for public transportation works that they can certainly be looked into and see can we get that accomplished.
Yeah, it was a piece that's come up by several residents now. And so I brought it forward to see if there's anything that we can help to get it done.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. I would also like to, with regards to the Wellness Centre, thank every council member, every mayor over, I've been on 3 terms now. You know what, this has been a combination effort of all people who served on council. I know the 3 terms that I've been there. With regards to also the Lions Club who's been there, and also the residents. The residents are the ones who stepped up and helped the initial fundraising and get it going to help get the first original design concept in place. It might not be the total one we use today, but that went a long way in convincing government to give us the funding that was needed to make this project happen. So there was a lot of people throughout the I know these 3 terms that I know the first term I was on was when it was officially sanctioned, when the deputy was the mayor at the time, that the motion was moved forward to the Wellness Centre at the time. And even before that, they were doing committee of the whole meetings, even before my time. So you know what, that's 4 terms of council. It's finally great to see this project be moved to fruition. So, you know, so we're actually the beneficiaries of a lot of hard work that went on before us. So I would be remiss in not thanking each and every one of them, from the staff members to the council members to the residents to the Lions Club, for their support in making this happen. The only other thing I got is this is Teacher Appreciation Week. So I would like to thank the teachers of both Laval and St. Anne's, who we entrust with the care of providing education to our kids in our community. You can certainly know by the amount of awards and athletic abilities and dramas, whatever it is, not only education wise, but in other activities, that Placentia is second to none. And it's because of the great work and dedication of our teachers in both of these schools that make it happen. So I would be remiss in not thanking them for their hard work and dedication, especially the last couple of years. They've had it really hard with regard to restrictions, online learning, and to getting it done. And it still manages to actually be able to give our kids the education they needed in order for them to move forward in life. So I'd like to thank them for that. Other than that, that's it for me. Is there anybody else got anything before we do finish? Maybe anything missed? Hearing none, call for a motion to the adoption to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Counselor Wilson, seconded by Counselor Smith. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.